So you know how we think that like being polite or like being like social in a normal way that doesn't like upset people, it's obviously it should be it's super straightforward, right? Probably say some please, say some thank you at the appropriate moments, smile, and you know, and be a good person, and you're set. And that's so for years, between like, I don't know, age 20 and age maybe 26, so for like 6 years, I was 100% super in that vibe. I was constantly finding myself in interactions where I didn't understand what I had done to bother someone. And just desperately trying to find out, you know, hey, what's the formula, like, you know, what should I have said in that situation? How should I have said in that situation? And you know what I learned? That it's an illusion. They're absolutely convinced that like it's super straightforward. They honestly think it's like please and thank you and be a good person. And 6 years of trying to learn how to adapt to what I assumed would be some pretty straightforward and understandable rules of engagement. I learned that actually they think that they're understandable, but they do not understand them. They have no idea that it's not about please and thank you. They have no idea that it's about squinting, about specific intonation, about just not saying certain things. And you may be thinking, oh no, they know that. No, because here's an example of where they don't know that. One thing that normal people love to say is that they would want someone to tell them if they like had spinach in their teeth, and there's no way they would get mad. They get mad. Oh, I hear you. Because you're thinking I'm going in front of everybody. Hey, dumb bitch, you have some spinach in your teeth. No, you idiot. But they get mad. I remember one time, because she even talked to my boss about it. This woman was mispronouncing our job title. We were corps members, part of AmeriCorps, volunteers in a program called City Year, corps members in City Year, working with underprivileged kids. And she said corpse members, and she was consistently saying that. And I thought, well, hey, this is dumb, that I feel scared to tell her. Because, you know, I was naive back then and had gotten sort of a taste of the way that people are, but hadn't really fully understood. So one day I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm just going to tell her. So we're in a group. I write on a piece of paper, CORPS is pronounced CORE, not CORPSE. I show that to her. The next day, my boss comes to me, says apparently you wanted to, like, embarrass, or you were telling someone. I don't remember even what he said. Anyway, I got into a little trouble. And even if you're hearing that, if you haven't broken the illusion that, like, you understand your mind, if you haven't broken out of that illusion, then you're probably thinking, oh no, but I would totally want someone to tell me. And maybe you would want someone to tell me. Maybe you would want to have that information. But the person who tells you, that messenger, is gonna fucking get shot by you. And you'll come up with some other reason for it. So anyway, my point is, to any neurodivergent people, specifically on the social axis, so we're talking ADHD, we're talking autism, the neurotypical community is going to demand from you adaptation and humility. And you're going to be happy to give those things. One, as a survival tactic, And 2, because, you know, you want other people to be happy. And I just don't want you to be too upset when you get to the end of that and realize they have no idea what they're talking about, number 1. Number 2, that they are judging you for things that have nothing to do with like morality or ethics. And the rubric on which they are judging you, they do not know it. So just those 2 things, those last 2 things. Their judgments are independent of morality. It's just about what like triggers them, and what triggers them, they do not know. They think that they do. And so they will judge you for triggering them. They will say, oh my gosh, you know, why can't you just say please and thank you? And you'll be like, but I do that. It's the other stuff. Here's another example. I once asked someone to close the door. We were in a store. We were both working in the store. There's a lot of noise outside. They were next to the door. So I asked, hey, can you close the door? They didn't like that. And I said, oh, okay, how should I have said it? Because this was during that period where I was just desperately trying to understand, and I really believed I could do it. I was like, okay, so blah, 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 okay. So anyways, she gave me something that I thought was super helpful. Just say, hey, do you mind? Oh, dope. She was like, oh yeah, always use that, you know, that you don't mind, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, for sure. And so I did it. I said, hey, would you mind closing the door? And she goes, oh, no, I didn't like that. I go, oh, what should I do? She goes, I don't know. So this was actually really cool that like, she didn't just, like, think in the moment that was good and validate it, even though it would not have been good for other people. So it was cool that she was, like, confused, right? Because she really, oh, my God, she was talking to me, oh, all you have to do is say, do you? And then I do it. And I was about to point at the door. I know that people don't like pointing. So I put my hand behind my back. Hey, would you mind closing the door? She didn't like it. She didn't know why. I said, hey, let's switch places. You do it. And I saw the way that she did it. There was the timing. There was the eyes closed like this. And there was the, oh my God. Would you mind just, closing the door? Because there's like a lot of noise outside. So if we could just close it for like a little bit. So I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I did it and it was successful. But that wasn't the end of it. I had a lot of hope that day. I thought, oh, right, of course. Intonation, timing. Okay. I had a lot of hope that day. Walked away from that interaction, a lot of hope. It's okay that neurotypicals don't know what they want to hear. I'll just have them act it out for me and find out what they need to hear. But the thing is, it's fucking complicated. And it's their first language. They will get mad at you. Basically what happens is Humanese has about 2 billion cases. No, it has like 25 cases, grammatical cases, 100,000 different conjugations. And if you fuck up one of them, there will be no lenience, okay? Leniency. I mean, the number of people that I said, hey, listen, I'm on the spectrum, so I have some trouble with that. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem, no worries at all. And then the moment, oh, wow, you're being brutal there. Because I had just said, no, that's wrong. Oh, my God. I hope one day you learn that you don't know everything. No, you're not better than, what? What is going on? I think I was just saying something that I want to finish. Oh yeah, a whole bunch of cases, and yeah, you don't get the same leniency that, because they assume that they just don't, in their minds, it's just like not possible that someone speaks like another language. It's like the same thing with actual languages. Typically when someone only speaks one language, they have a very different concept of languages than people who speak more than one. like their language is naturally sort of the true language, stuff like that. Like, for instance, I love people who speak, their only language is French, and they'll ask me whether I, like, think in French or in English, or whether I write in French or in English, or whether like I do my videos in French or in English. Well, that one is understandable because they want to know whether they can watch it. But they'll ask, like, do you think in French or in English? And it's like the way that they do it, it's like they're almost not expecting the answer to be English. Which is the craziest thing to me, because you understand, I mean, these are people that know me, that know that, I mean, that also hear the way I speak French, and it's not perfect. Like, how could, on average, or most of the time, like, how could my default, if you're asking me if it's between these two languages, obviously, I think in both languages, right? There are a lot of times when either if I'm thinking about a person who speaks French, or I'm thinking about, a conversation with them, I'll start having thoughts in French. But most of my thoughts, pretty much always in English. My writing is pretty much all in English, because that's my first language. But it's like for them that the language is French is so significant that once you learn it, it would become like your default or something, which is crazy when your first language is American English. So anyway, people only speak one language will, like, think that, like, animals, like, also speak a language. Anyway, forget it. So anyway, here's what I'm saying, is that humans, unfortunately, haven't gotten a whole lot of practice meeting other humans that don't speak humanese, right? And so it's just incomprehensible to them that they are interacting in a certain code, in a certain language, that is not like just, it's not just like truth and goodness coming out of their mouths, and therefore it is not actually the problem of neurodivergence that we're not sending out truth and goodness. No, we're just not doing it with your code. And they won't understand that. So you do what you can to adapt. You try to tell them, because there are some people who maybe will be able to grasp that. You try to tell them. When you tell them, and then they demonstrate no understanding of that and are all upset, whatever. Maybe you try to tell them, hey, you're a brain, and there are these, like, mechanisms that are judging what I'm saying that you might not be aware of. And if they say, no, I'm not, then, okay. You can let them just, maybe they'll take some time and realize, I don't know. But don't bang your head against the wall.